Welcome to the channel. In today's lesson, we'll be looking at immutable variables. Immutable variables are like constants, but with small difference. Like in our previous video, I explained what constants are. So immutable are like constants, but with a little different. Unlike the constants, the value of the immutable variable can only be set when the contract is deployed. But for constants, constants can be declared and assign a value when they are created. So for constants, you assign a value immediately to it when they are created. You are not allowed to declare a constant only and later on assign a value to it. The compiler will throw an error. But with immutables, you can declare it. Immutable, you are only allowed to declare it. Then during deployment, you are to assign a value to it. So immutable variables can only be declared, but later assign a value only when a contract is deployed. So you can set their value when this smart contract is created inside the constructor. That's how you assign the value. Now let's look at the examples. So if you look at this very first immutable variable, if you notice, we are saying, oh, the type of data that this immutable variable will store or will hold is an address type of data. So, and if you notice, we also use the keyword immutable. Remember, in our previous video, we talked about constant. We also use when creating a constant variable, we must also use the keyword constant. The same is applicable to immutable. So when creating an immutable variable, we have to use the keyword immutable before writing the name. Now, if you notice, this is the name of the immutable variable, my address. So if I decide to assign a value to it, if I decide to assign a value to it, it will throw an error. You can see that there's a red line beneath it showing an error that it shouldn't be that way because immutable variables can only be declared and cannot be assigned any value when they are declared. They are only assigned value when they are deployed. So that's why we are having the red line beneath it saying it cannot be assigned, a value cannot be assigned to it. So the same thing for this UNT 256. The data type we are storing in this immutable variable is number without negative sign. We declared the visibility of the variable. We declared the keyword immutable before the name of the variable, my uint. Now, inside the constructor is where we assign the value of the immutable variable. Inside the constructor is because that is when the contract is deployed. It is in this constructor that will pass the necessary arguments to assign to assign the value to the immutable variable. So if you notice, my address was declared here. This variable was declared in this line 6 of the code, and it was later assigned a value inside the constructor. So the constructor is a function that runs once when the contract is declared. So one thing you should note that immutable variable are declared, but values and the value is not no values assigned to it during declaring the variable. Immutable variable are only declared, but you can assign their value when the smart contract is deployed. That's when you assign a value to an immutable variable. But unlike constants you don't only declare the variable, you assign a value to it immediately. Now let me show you an example of constant. So if I say, oh, you went to 256 public constant, my uint. Let's say my uint2. Now you can see that the compiler is throwing an error saying that with constants we cannot just declare it only. We ought to assign a value to it. So if I assign a value to it, you can see that it's no longer showing us any error. So in a constant variable, we assign a value to it, but it doesn't change. The same thing goes for immutable variable. We just declare it, and later on we assign a value to it when deploying the contract, and the value remains the same forever all through the lifetime of the smart contract. So immutable variable, when the value is assigned to it, it cannot be altered, it cannot be changed. Same way, a constant variable cannot be changed. The same thing goes for immutable variable. It cannot, the moment the value is assigned during deployment, it cannot be changed, it cannot be altered. The difference, like I said, between the immutable variable and the constant variable is that constant variable, you declare it and assign value to it during the creation process. But in with immutable variable, you have to declare it first. Then later, when deploying the code, you have to assign the value to that immutable variable. But both of them cannot be changed. So I believe we've gotten the difference, and how both of them have been handled. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like the video, it helps you reaches more people that will benefit from it. So see you in the next video.